Dele Adeyemi had not eaten street food since university. His nutritionist had opinions about that. His mother had stronger ones. But on a suffocating Tuesday morning when his driver took a wrong turn through Mile 1 Market and the traffic swallowed them whole, the smell of fresh Akara frying in hot groundnut oil reached through the air-conditioned silence of his Range Rover and reminded him that he was, beneath everything, just a hungry man. Pull over. His driver blinked in the rearview mirror. Sir. Pull over. She was impossible to miss. Not because of her looks, though she was striking in the uncomplicated way of someone who had never been told to be anything other than herself. But because of the way she moved through the chaos of the market morning like she owned it. No apology in her posture. No awareness of how the world might be watching. Just a girl and her frying pan and 50 hungry customers and a focus so complete it looked like prayer. Sade Ibrahim had been frying Akara at this exact spot since she was 19, the year her father's fishing boat went down in the Bonny River and took with it every plan the Ibrahim family had ever made. She supported her mother, put her younger brother through school, and refused every relative who suggested she abandon Port Harcourt for the uncertainty of Lagos. This corner was hers. This work was hers. She had built something small and honest from the wreckage of grief, and she was not ashamed of a single piece of it. When the tall man in the expensive suit climbed out of the black Range Rover and stood at her table looking slightly lost, she did not flutter. She looked at him the way she looked at everyone. How many? Dele blinked. People did not usually speak to him first. How many what? Akara. How many are you buying, or are you just standing there letting my smoke ruin that suit? He laughed before he could stop himself. Clean and unguarded and completely foreign to him. 6, he said. He stayed for 40 minutes and bought 6 more. By the 4th week, Port Harcourt was already talking. Not loudly. Not yet. But in the way that cities talk, in the lowered voice of a gateman to a neighbor, in the raised eyebrow of a business associate, in the deliberate pause before a name is mentioned at a dinner party. Dele Adeyemi. The roadside Akara girl. Have you heard? Dele had heard. He did not care. What had started as inexplicable morning visits had become something neither of them had planned for or against. Sade made him talk. Not the careful boardroom version of talking where every word was weighed for consequence, but real talking, the kind where you say the thing you actually mean and the person across from you simply receives it without agenda. He told her about his father's death and the empire he inherited before he was ready. She told him about the Bonny River and the fishing boat and the version of her life that existed before laws rewrote everything. They were careful with each other the way people are careful with things they cannot afford to break. Then he brought her home. Chief Mrs. Range Adeyemi received Sade in the sitting room of the Adeyemi mansion the way a judge receives someone already convicted. Her eyes traveled from Sade's headscarf to her flat sandals and back again without completing a single stop at her face. Your people are from where exactly? Mama, Dele warned. I'm speaking to the girl. Sade met the older woman's gaze without flinching. Keoma, Kwara State. My father was a fisherman. My mother sells fabric at Mile 1. We don't have a family name that opens doors, Ma. But we have never needed one to keep our dignity. The silence that followed was the kind that rearranges furniture. Range smiled. Thin and cold as a Harmattan morning. How charming, she said. Dele, your 8 o'clock meeting. She stood and left the room without another word, which was worse, Sade would later understand, than anything she could have said. The real war had not yet begun. That was simply the declaration. The envelope arrived on a Monday. Inside, photographs, bank statements, a signed testimony. All of it suggesting that Sade had researched Dele's daily route for months before their meeting. That the Akara stand was repositioned deliberately. That a cousin had been paid to introduce her to Mile 1 Market specifically because Dele's driver used that road. It looked meticulous. It looked damning. It looked exactly like a lie built by someone with resources, time, and desperation. Dele sat with the envelope for 6 hours before he called his head of security. Find out who built this. It took 4 days. The thread, when pulled, unraveled completely, leading back not to Sade but to Zora Phillips, whose third broken engagement had quietly destroyed her family's political standing and who had decided that becoming Mrs. Adeyemi was no longer a preference but a necessity. She had hired a fixer. The fixer had been sloppy. One receipt dated 3 days before Sade had ever set up on that road. One small, stupid detail. The whole architecture of the lie collapsed on it. Zora's father's senatorial ambitions did not survive the scandal that followed. She did not ask for forgiveness. She did not deserve to receive it. But Chief Mrs. Range Adeyemi did something nobody expected, including herself. She went alone. No driver announced. No prepared speech. She found Sade at the Akara stand on a quiet Thursday morning, standing in the smoke and the noise and the dignity of her ordinary extraordinary life. Range stood at the edge of the crowd for a long moment watching the girl her son loved walk, really watching, perhaps for the first time. Then she stepped forward and stood in line. When she reached the front, Sade looked at her without anger. Without performance. Just looked. "To please," Range said quietly. Her voice was different. Something in it had been set down. Sade wrapped the Akara in newspaper, warm from the oil, and placed it in the older woman's hands. "They are better with pepper," Sade said simply. "Sit. I'll get you some." And just like that, in the smoke and the noise of Mile 1 Market, the proudest woman in Port Harcourt learned what it felt like to be fed by someone she had tried to starve. Dele proposed the following Sunday. Sade said yes before he finished the sentence.